Sometimes in life, a person just lucks out. Have you ever noticed that? And sometimes in life, people come exactly at the time you need them to come. About 12 years ago, for various reasons, I got into yoga, and one of my first teachers was Joe Johnson. And through Joe, I met Dan Johnson, and they both have just been such a major support. Today, I'm thrilled to get to interview Dan. I've learned so much from him over the last 12 years about really savoring the moment, and also about growing a bit more day by day, and I just can't say enough, and I don't want to say any more because I want you to meet Dan. So without further ado, this is episode 29 of Awkwardly Awesome Podcast, starting right now.
Today's guest, Dan Johnson.
Why, hello, Dan Johnson.
Hey, Jason Freeman. How are you?
I'm really good.
Good.
How are you doing?
Better than yesterday, but not as good as tomorrow.
Nice. So we start right off. I mean, that's an easy phrase for most people to say. Better than yesterday, not as good as tomorrow. It's a bit of a tongue twister in my mouth. But actually applying this phrase, I found, is very challenging.
Mm.
How do you apply that phrase, like, day by day?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for being on here. I'm thrilled to have this opportunity. You and I have had some great walks and talks. You know, I think you started out a while ago. You had a walk and talk, I think is what you named it. So, but you and I have had some great experiences.
Oh my gosh, we have.
And thank you for that wonderful introduction. So grateful to be here. To use it is I like to use that phrase because some people, they don't always listen to exactly what you're saying. I say I'm better than yesterday, but not as good as tomorrow. Some people will stop and go, well, what happened yesterday? They only heard a part of it that made them go, well, what was wrong with yesterday? So it's interesting. But for me, being better than yesterday, but not as good as tomorrow, is just an optimistic way to look at I'm learning, I learned, I grew, and I'm applying today so that tomorrow I'll be further ahead. I'll be farther along the line. So it's applying that on a daily basis is been just a lot of fun.
So instead of wallowing in the past and like, if only this, I should have done that. You're saying learn from the past?
Learn, yes, exactly. Grow. What is it? Change is the only constant is change, right? The only constant is change.
Yeah.
It's going to be something different, So the best way to go and grow from that is to use your experience with that optimism. So yeah, why not?
Um. Well. I know sometimes I look at the past and I'm like, or sometimes I've looked at what I've done in my life, and or do you ever have the? So I'm just trying to start like 10 sentences right now and not finish any of them. But do you ever have that in life? Like you're going to accomplish something, and it's like a big deal to you, but then once you accomplish it, you're like, oh, that's no big deal. Anyone could do that thing.
Sure, sure. And it's interesting how you can process that. Um, we can do the opposite too. Is really worry about or go through that in our head over and over and over again and make it much bigger than it really is. But because of that, it makes it a struggle. It makes it really hard. We put all these obstacles in front of ourselves and made it a big chore. So yeah, you can easily. We've all done that, but made it bigger than it really needs to be. And I think we've um, belittled our accomplishment in some ways. It's important to celebrate those, even the things that didn't go exactly right. Think of all of the things around us that were considered an accident, like post-it notes. That was an accident. It didn't do what they were trying to come up with. They were coming up with a different kind of glue, and what a great accident.
What a great accident! What a
Mhm.
great accident! Well, so so to just do the thing and instead of blowing it up, and sometimes it goes like really amazingly well, and sometimes it's like, oh, wow, wow, this isn't quite what I intended or expected, but then it can be a great accident.
Yes, exactly.
And what do you do once you realize that you've created a great accident?
That's a great question.
Hmm.
That is a great question.
Hmm.
Uh, well, you have an opportunity. Some people beat themselves up when they've discovered they've made an accident. Sometimes, yes. Yep, I've been known to do that, very much so.
And
Um,
I too.
yep. Uh, but as we mature and grow or experience those things, we have an opportunity to make the best of it. What did I learn, and what can I prevent so I don't have to? I don't want to go. I don't want to fall in that hole again. Right? You walk down the street, you see a hole, you fall in the hole. You work all day to get out of the hole, and you walk on. The next day, you get up, you walk down the street, you see a hole. Right? So that's a
The
story.
street is a big mess,
That's
actually.
in South Dakota. Yeah, it's a huge hole. And so yeah, it's an opportunity to say I'm going to go down a different street if it's that big of a challenge for you. So yeah, it's learning and growing and being your best. Learn from it. It's the other option is death, and I'd rather not. I'm not ready quite yet to experience death. So,
No,
although that's going to be great in its day.
I'm hoping for either 120 or 150.
I like it. I like it. The odds are getting better.
So speaking of going down a different street, you and your wife Jill were like doing your usual lives, and suddenly this opportunity to do something with laughter appeared. How did the opportunity appear again?
Jill was at a conference, a yoga conference, and it was in LA, I believe. And there was at lunchtime, a lunch break, somebody had like 5 minutes to present laughter yoga. And
Five.
yeah, it was not the ideal situation. And Jill was like, "What is this?" And she was uncomfortable, and she didn't like it at all. But she came back very intrigued. I mean, she was very intrigued at what was that. Our business was Joyful Living. I think it was Joyful Living Yoga at the time, or yeah. Anyway, it's changed. If it's morphed, we've grown as we've gone. But she came back very intrigued, and she looked it up and found out there was going to be a training at Harbin Hot Springs, and so we signed up to go.
So wait a sec. Jill went from being very uncomfortable in this 5 minute thing to convincing you to sign up for a training. How did she make that transition?
Well, we got on the internet and looked up laughter yoga. We looked up what was some of the things about it. We watched some videos and explanations and how it worked, and just fell in love with the guy who was Dr. Madan Kataria was training in Harbin Hot Springs, and so we just took a leap, having never experienced it. Other than Jill's, I never experienced it. I had no idea what I was going for, but I was more than willing. I was excited about doing something entirely different. Certainly excited about going out to California and experiencing that area. And I've never regretted it. Never, never, never.
Jill says we love laughter yoga.
Absolutely.
We
We do.
We do.
And
So-
so that is really just taking that, saying yes to something that we really didn't know. We didn't know a lot about. We did a little homework. We did a little research, but we stepped out. We said yes to it, and that has taught us to really being open and the yes in our lives and saying something in that manner. We've done that in many ways. I became a massage therapist. I stepped away from managing a convenience store and became a massage therapist. We have done a lot of speaking gigs and a lot of opportunities to train people in big groups. It's just been a blast. Every step has helped us grow. And we met you. That was the best of all. It truly was. That was an amazing experience. And to watch you grow and how laughter has really opened you up to possibilities. Laughter in the Bible, it says laughter is good medicine. It heals our bones, to our core. It heals us. And boy, has it ever in my life. And I know that laughter has helped heal you to the core and really help you step out into a whole new adventure.
I know the story, but it so boggles my mind. So if this person hadn't say yes to presenting for 5 minutes at a conference, this person could have been like, "What? No, no, no. Either I get half an hour, or no, no. There's no way. There's no way to do laughter yoga in 5 minutes." But this person, and we thank you, the laughter yoga person who we don't know. But this person said yes. And then Joe was like, "What the heck is this?" But sometimes you just have to say yes enough to take the next step. She
Mhm.
took the next step by coming home, and both of you looked at this website, and you, she's like, "I don't know much about this," and you're like, "I know nothing about this. I've never experienced it." But then you both said yes, and from that you started a laughter club
Mhm.
in Sioux Falls, and Joe said it in her class, and then I could say yes, and then the yeses just continue.
Exactly. A week before the training, we discovered that this was a laughter yoga leader training, that we were supposed to already have been trained in laughter yoga. And so this was train the trainer. Basically, it was for us to be leaders and train people to become laughter yoga leaders.
So
And so,
you were going to a training of something you had never done in your life?
absolutely. so
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
we reached out to Dr. Matan Kataria and said, "I'm sorry, we didn't realize that." He said, "Come, come, come." He was he was so gracious, and man, we met some amazing people. Someone we met at the training. We're actually going to go at the end of the month and go to Florida and see her for 5 days. It's just the friendships that we've made. We can go anywhere and reach out to the laughter yoga community and have a place to stay and be a part of. It's crazy how big it is. It's worldwide, but it's just the connections you make when you laugh with somebody. It is a true connection.
I just am so enjoying this, and the power of. So I mean, it occurs to me, especially coming out of the last year. So many of us are looking for something big to happen that will improve everything. But but sometimes it's just saying yes to a small thing. Jill noticed a small thing at that lunch. I mean, just think if she had stepped out for 5 minutes,
Hmm. She would have missed it. Hmm.
and we might not have known each other. Like Jill would have still been one of my awesome yoga teachers, but there would be no segue for me knowing you. Or
Right. I had nothing to do with the yoga part of her training and her business. So yeah, it
um, Joe says I love laughing with you too, and this reminds me, if anyone else watching has comments or questions, or wants to badger us, or wants to say, "I'm thinking of an elephant now, so I want you to know I'm thinking of an elephant now," please chime in. But but in honor of Joe loving laughing with us, shall we just laugh for like five?
Not 5 minutes.
I meant 5 seconds
Oh, okay.
because we create that moment that Joe had for everyone by just starting to laugh for the rest of the hour here.
There must be a delay because I can hear her laughing. So she's laughing with us.
And speaking of the international impact
Yep.
that this all has, want to tell us about this lady?
Oh, yay. Linda. I missed it. I love seeing you, darling. Aw, thank you, Linda. She's amazing.
But where does Linda live? Does she
She
live
lives in
like
Canada.
in Vermilion or
No, not even
Sioux
in the
City?
U.S. No, she lives in Canada. That's right. So, yeah, talk about people, friends from all around the world. Absolutely. Yep. People in Mexico, people in Italy, people in London. It's just amazing how France. I'm not going to finish that.
What?
London, France.
Oh. So what would you say to people about looking for the small opportunities and capitalizing on them?
I'm saying yes. Yeah, it's fascinating. When you what you're doing is you're changing yourself chemically when you do something that pushes the envelope, when it pushes you beyond that comfort zone. When you don't feel like doing it is almost always the best opportunity to step into it.
But you just said I don't feel like doing it. So why would I want to do it?
Exactly. Because chemically what's happening is there's a fight or flight that happens within you. But when you say something with certainty, when you stand in a pose of certainty, it chemically changes you. So a way to physically practice is to experience that. So experiencing something that gives you discomfort. So standing in your superhero pose for even 5 seconds, it chemically changes you. So it helps you make that process. You can do it even though it's not a comfortable thing. Does that make sense? So saying yes, it's something you have to practice. It's not something that you can. Well, it is. And some people, I call myself hopefully optimistic, not hopelessly optimistic, right? People call some call hope. What is the word I'm trying to say? Hopelessly optimistic, and I don't see it that way. I see it as hopefully full of hope, and I'm optimistic. I'm looking for the best. Does that mean nothing bad happens? No, but I make the best of every experience. So say yes, try it, see what happens. There's a great movie about saying yes to everything. That was a fun movie to watch.
So speaking of saying yes, another one of my mentors, Alex Swanson, at a time I really needed, he said he at a time I really needed it, he jumped up and said, "Hey Jason, you can be on my Habitude stage. You have a lifetime membership," and it's amazing because Habitudes is this huge event of 33 speakers, and they go around the country. So it was a great gift.
Very nice. Thank you, Eric.
And Eric is Mr. Awesome, and he says he experiences awesomeness every single day and commits to being awesome.
Nice. Very
And
nice.
going along with that, one of the phrases you kept saying when I began laughter yoga that you loved is that motion creates emotion.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I didn't create it, but I use it.
Yeah, you didn't create it, but what does the phrase mean to you?
Motion creates emotion. Well, it's just like doing the standing in your superpower pose. When you do something, it chemically changes you within in your body. When you are still, when you're not moving, when you're not exercising, your body starts to shut down. It doesn't function properly. We are designed to be on the move, to be on the go. And so it's important to use that. So motion creates emotion, energy moving, emotion. So it's an energy that really it's contagious, and it's effective, and it helps you do a better job.
Alex says, like our buddy Laurel Langmeyer always says, say yes and figure out how to do it after.
Nice.
So like you were about 10 years ago, you were going along in your career as a manager, and you decided suddenly, I want to become a massage therapist.
Yes.
That's completely logical. I mean, of course you did. Of course.
It was the most logical thing I could do. It was the next right step. So yeah, it was totally out there, but it was a part of the laughter yoga. It helped me understand that motion emotion process, and I loved when Jill and I would travel. We'd get a massage, and then we'd come home and we'd practice the moves that we experienced during the massage. And so just one of the clients, she went to a massage therapist who was a special ed teacher, and she decided she wanted to do something different, and she became a massage therapist. Right, next logical step. And
special ed massage, manager
and so
massage.
She came home
Do all careers end up in massage, like pilot massage?
Massage. It could. I don't know. But I think stepping out into knowing, when you have that desire within you, when you know there's something not quite being fulfilled, saying yes to those things that present themselves becomes. So Jill came home from her massage, hearing the story. She said, you could do that. You could become a massage therapist. And so I said yes to that. And we stepped into that together. I was grateful for that. It's been a wonderful trip. Everything we've done and growing our business has always been done together, stepping into some really unknown territories. But it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, it wasn't easy, but it was definitely the right thing to do. Very fulfilling.
So I remember like one day, the first day of your massage, we got on the phone and you're like, yes, I love massage. This is going to be so easy. I just love it.
No, I did not. No, I was so he had the instructor had us take a quiz, basically not even the final exam, but he he just put out all the words and all the technology, the muscles and the joints and yeah, all of it. He just had us
I
do a
would
little
have
quick.
done so bad.
I did. I hardly knew anything, and I was like, what have I gotten myself into? And for me, and you know this, but I'm going to share it with the rest. Is that I have never been diagnosed, but I have uh, quite a few symptoms of dyslexia. So reading has always been a challenge. So taking a test is even more of a challenge for me, a pressure builder. It just, my anxiety goes through the roof. I can't hardly see straight. Um, the more the more tired I am, the worse it is. Uh, and so yeah, that kicked in full bore. I was like, I have totally screwed up. This isn't just rubbing somebody. There's all kinds of words I'm going to have to memorize and learn and know. And
You weren't only taking a test, you were taking an anatomy test.
yeah,
I
first
mean,
day.
mostly. God, wow.
Yeah, and the reason he did that was to help us recognize at the end the exam and see how far we've come. And it was a brilliant move, but it shook me to my core. And you got the brunt of it. I was like, oh, Jason, I think I swore a few times, but I messed up. I shouldn't have done this. So
So
yeah,
this so often happens. I mean, when we, so you had taken the first step. I mean, actually, Jill took the first step. She's kind of the yes whisperer, and she
right.
she no, with laughter, yoga, and massage, and told you about it. But then you say yes, and you signed up. But then you got into the first day, and your yes turned to an oh no,
Oh no.
no. So how did you go from that no to now you're a brilliant massage therapist who incorporates so many things? How did you go from that blankety blank 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 no to where you are now?
Excellent. It happened overnight. It was so easy.
Oh, really? Just it's so easy. Okay.
Yes. Well, it is a soul searching, quaking, earthquaking. It brings you to your core, and some of those are the best experiences. Is because it really makes you.
What kind of experiences do you like, Dan?
Well, we can be faced with those throughout our life. I put myself in that position, which I wasn't totally prepared for. Jill and I, you mentioned yes, Jill being the yes whisperer. Our relationship has been that way since the first time I saw her. In 20 years, we hadn't seen each other in 20 years. We graduated together and went on our separate lives. And we were at our 20-year class reunion.
Speaking of saying yes, you need to just build up the story a little bit. So, where were you the morning before the reunion?
Friday, I was at in the Black Hills. I had my two boys, and my best friend had his three kids, and we were in the Black Hills on vacation. We had been there all week long. And we woke up Friday morning and went, I think our reunion's this weekend. And so we said, yeah, that's right. So we decided to come home a day early. So we left early.
On a whim.
On a whim. Yeah, on a whim. We did not have it planned at all. So
And I bet that's great, trying to convince 5 kids that they wanted to come home from the
I think they were ready. They were ready. We were running out of things to do. It's only so much fun at a campground. I thought it was great, but yeah, they were ready. So yeah, it wasn't hard to convince them to say yes to that. So But we packed up that Saturday morning and drove across the state. It was, literally 6.5 hour drive to get to Sioux Falls. We dropped them off and showered and went to the reunion at downtown Holiday Inn. So we got
Did
there.
anything happen at the reunion, or are you just
Yes.
telling a random story?
Yeah. No. Something. So we got to the reunion, and I saw. Well, so there was, people I hadn't seen for years, 20 years. Many of them. Dale, I'd been in touch with all along, my best friend. So, but all of a sudden, I was sitting at a table. All of a sudden, Jill tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Would you like to dance?" And my first instinct always is to say, "Yes, I would love to dance." Yeah. My first instinct is no, thank you. But I said yes, and
Why do you think you say yes in that moment?
because she's the yes whisperer. You're right. You're absolutely, you're absolutely right. And well, she's
You could have
beautiful.
also said because she was so beautiful.
She is. She's very beautiful and attractive. And she asked me, like, wow, what a yeah, yes. So it was a fast dance. We started out, which I'm really not good at. Then it went to a slow dance, and we decided to stay out there, which
And you're better at
I'm really
slow
not
dance.
good at. So I do what I do best is I started talking about my experience with my family. So I started talking about my dad, and who had already passed away by then, but I just started talking about experiences. And so that's yeah, thanks for dancing. Yeah, I'm glad I said yes. My life has never been the same.
Gosh. Wow.
Thanks for
Well,
asking, honey.
it's, I mean, I know these stories, but the power of saying yes to small things is like I'm reawakening to it as we talk more and more.
So Jill had been to the Friday night part of the reunion, and really didn't feel like going to the Saturday. She said, "I already experienced meeting people that I wanted to meet, and that's fine." And her mom talked her into going. Said, "Oh, go. You'll have a good time. You already paid for it." So she almost didn't go, and I
And,
almost didn't go. So the talk about the power of it's just, yeah, that's amazing. When we talk about that, it's just truly amazing that we actually met. So
last thing on this.
oh yeah, it was her birthday. That's right. It was her birthday, so she always says it was the best birthday gift she's ever gotten. Aw, thank you.
And then Alex Swanson has a segue for us.
Hmm.
Can you see that?
Sometimes we need to borrow other.
Others' confidence in us until ours catches up.
Brilliant. Yes, exactly.
So I want to segue to being there for other people when they really need a boost.
Mm.
And do you know what story I'm going to bring up now?
Nope.
So
So it's not rehearsed.
so I was I eventually was inspired by your laughter yoga club, and I joined your and Joe's laughter yoga teacher training.
Mm.
And there was this moment during the training where I had absolutely no confidence, and you were there for me. Do you want to talk about that moment?
Well,
It's where we were going.
clapping. Yep.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just a matter of encouraging you to get out of how you thought it should be, or how you truly wanted it to be, or you know what I'm saying.
I wanted it to be perfect.
Perfect, right? Exactly. And it was exactly perfect because it was you being authentic. And when you let go of your concept of being perfect and just went with the flow of it, it truly came through. And that was one of the first times I saw that in action. It really was. I mean, as a manager, I use that always. I've always used that. I've always looked for the best and encouraged people to take their step, whatever that might be. I just the words of saying yes is something that I put into it now, but it was really how I managed and how I worked with my kids. Do your best, find a way that works for you. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same way everybody else does it.
And this is such a fun interview because we know so much about each other's lives.
Right.
But this philosophy started with your mom and dad, and you had you had foster kids with special different abilities.
Yep.
And what was the philosophy towards?
Everyone has their chore. Everyone had. So for instance, we would go camping. There would be 7 kids altogether, 3 of Johnsons, and then 4 or 5 other foster kids would be there. And
4 or 5. That's a lot of kids.
There'd be 7 kids in some cases. Yeah. So 4 kids for sure. Yeah. We had quite a few times we had 4 kids. And so when we go camping, we had a great big tent, and it was like a circus. And it really was. People would always
I'm
say
getting a vision of a circus tent.
The big Ford station wagon just packed. And all these kids would keep getting out, all these kids with different abilities, different cognitive abilities, different physical abilities. And so everyone had a chore. Everyone had their thing they were responsible for. And so it was great. It was a great way to learn that everyone could do something. Not everybody could put up the tent. That happened to be my chore. So I was always the last one to go play, but it was with my dad. So it was an honor. So, but yeah, everyone had a responsibility in making sure the campground be a part of. So it was fun.
So what's an example of someone having a responsibility?
Well, for me, it was to put up the tent. So it was a big chore, long, taking everything. But everyone had something they could do. Some were physically challenged as far as walkers and stuff like that.
So, like, what type of responsibility would they have?
Everyone had something that they could do, whatever it was. So it was unpacking, getting the dishes ready, or getting the campsite ready. Unloading the vehicle to their ability. So whether it was just getting the sleeping bags out or out of the car or whatever it might be. So it was, everyone had something they were responsible for. No one didn't have a job, and everything reflected their ability.
And I have a comment on that, but first Stacy Sandler says hi. Hi to us. And Stacy Sandler, I don't know if you know, she's in this big yoga competition competition right now, and she's really doing well. It's so exciting.
Oh, great. Yay, Stacy. Thanks for saying yes.
So, thanks for saying yes. So, what, what would you say to someone who's maybe listening and saying, "Hey, Dan, I hear you about saying yes. Easy for you to say. I hear you that we all have different abilities and just do my own thing. But easy for you to say, but my life is really tough. Where do I even start saying yes? Where do I even start using my own abilities in a unique way? It's overwhelming. Dan,
The, excellent
Dan.
spot to start is to find and surround yourself with people who are going to help you. You know, you need to eliminate or evacuate, if we can say in a nice way, get rid of the things that aren't supporting you. And it might be just putting your phone down. Could be one of the easiest ways. Or, you know what I'm saying? Don't watch as much TV. Limit the amount of time you're on the tube. Find the things that are taking your time up and put them aside for a little bit. Find and surround yourself with people who will help you, like Eric, who said, I'd love to have you be a part of. You have something that I know people need. And so he asked you to be a part of that and gave you, you have an open invitation. So it's getting those, being open to that. And that's the biggest thing, is the power of yes. Is when you say yes, you attract more yes to you. You can say yes to something you have no intention of doing. In other words, if someone asks you to do something that you don't have the ability to do or make happen, you can say yes. I'll help you find somebody that can get you that experience. And when you do that, that energy just grows, and the answer always comes. And so that's the first step, is to just be open to the little tiny yeses in your life. Try it, and then surround yourself with more people that support you and build you up in that way.
You're saying it's like the example of finding something for everyone to do. In
Right.
a way, you can always say yes, even if it's just giving someone another idea of what to research. Yes. You might check the thing out on the internet, even though I can't help you. That might be a way to go. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. And so finding so it is the very first step, is to, how can I say yes in my day? How can I say yes today? And
How can I say yes today?
Yeah. It's a fun exercise, and it doesn't take. You could say yes to someone asking you a question, and you again not have any idea where it's going to take you. But if you have a trust in a higher power, that's what he's waiting for. That's what the higher power is waiting for you to do. Is say, I could try that.
Oh, okay, let's do a practical example of this. How would you answer this question with yes? Dan, what is 52,429 divided by 482?
I would get my calculator. I don't. Okay, 4. Is that what you want the answer to that?
No,
Okay.
just say you didn't know the answer. How would you say yes to that? But yeah, refer me to someone else or someone else to
Well,
get
I
the
did. I
answer.
did just say, did you want the answer to that? So it's getting a little clarity is always a good thing, because
Yeah,
you could say
yeah.
yes to something they don't even want to know the answer to. So getting clarity is brilliant. Thank you, Jason. You're amazing.
So so first I mean you can ask a question. Do
Get a
you
little
want an
clarity.
answer to that? And I say yes. And then how do you refer me on?
Ask you what your resources are. Do you have access to a calculator? Do you have? Are you
Oh, yes. So,
excellent? Then I would suggest going there. That's the quickest way to get the answer. Or
so,
you can
so
start taking toothpicks and no, just kidding.
that'd be a lot of toothpaste. So,
Yes,
you refocus. Instead of instead of shouldering the obligation to find my answer, you help me say yes to my ability to find my own answer.
exactly. You know
That's
that
really brilliant.
that came in handy for me because growing up that way with children that with special needs, learning that everyone has something to offer, and that's one of the things that I think you and I have just loved. We talk about it over and over and over again. But with my kids, my kids had special needs, digital. So growing up, that was just something I used. And my kids learning how to put on their own coats and zipping them up, putting the head of their coat at their feet and putting their hands in and throwing it over their shoulders. I learned that at a daycare, and so it taught me so many things. Just being open to the idea of it doesn't have to be exactly the way you or I do it. You find a way that works for you, and so that it just came in handy to really help me. So for me, it's just a lifestyle that I grew up with. Then and one of the great aspects to this, and you and I talk about it all the time, is that I wasn't blood to that. I was adopted into that. I was adopted into that family. So that isn't necessarily inheritedly a part of who I am. It's not in my DNA. I learned it. I adapted to it. I adopted that attitude into my life. And so you can adopt the great aspects of saying yes into your life just by trying it.
So you're saying it doesn't have to be genetic, like some people aren't born saying yes and others not. It's something any of us can do.
Absolutely. We all have that spark within us, that desire within us, that thing within us. And so finding out how you get to your yes is the only way you can do it is by starting saying yes. And know you already know when you knowledge, there you go, knowledge. When you know something, it creates that certainty again. So we're back to the certainty. When you know that you know that you know, you grow. So
So on the show, I love to ask every guest about what imperfect best means to them, and I so what does imperfect best mean in terms of saying yes?
I should have known you were going to ask that question? Because, for me, it's always being willing to explore or to learn. For me, today, I just looked up the definition of knowing. To know, it's not just head knowledge, but it's described as an experience, experiencing something, which is fascinating to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the actual word says that it's not information for some abstract principle, but apprehend or experience reality. When you actually get to experience something is what true knowledge is. So when you understand that, when you the Bible says that when you know the truth, so when you experience the truth, that experience will set you free. So that changed just knowing, just learning a new aspect to the word know. So always being open to growing in that way. So today for everyone out there is challenging to say yes. How do I say yes today that I wouldn't have done yesterday? And I can't wait to do it tomorrow.
Wow. And I guess saying yes doesn't guarantee that it's going to be perfect.
No, right?
But
Yeah, I said yes to going to school, massage school, and that first day I was scared spitless, but I stuck it out. I kept trying. I kept figuring it out, and I took the exam, and I passed, and I wept with joy because I passed. I passed the test. So
if you had just walked out that first day and gone, I'm done, you would have never gotten to
experience.
pass that test.
I would or experience so many wonderful techniques and ways of helping people heal and hearing their body speak. And yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's right.
Oh, let's leave it on this. So we don't only say yes for ourselves in our own lives, but think of how many people your and Joe yeses and laughter yoga have impacted, including transforming my life. And think of how many clients in massage benefited from you saying yes. This test is challenging, but I'm going to keep going, and that just keeps rippling out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it never truly ends. My father's lessons, the things I learned from my mom and dad, I'm still teaching, and it keeps growing. It keeps going out there. So say absolutely. The
Uh,
power of yes.
I never got to meet your dad, but you've taught me his lessons, and they've impacted my life. So
Yeah. Thank you.
just keeps rippling.
Yep.
Well, it's been such an honor and a
Thank you.
thrill to have you on
Thank you, Jay.
today, my friend. Thanks for being my mentor, friend, and encouraging me over and over again.
And likewise, you've made me help me step. You kept me in that class. You said, "Now wait a minute." So yeah, absolutely. I truly value our friendship, and I love when we get to chat. And I'm grateful I got to do it with all your audience as well. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks so much, Dan, and thank you all for tuning in and what and wasn't isn't yes isn't Dan's message just so inspiring? I feel really charged up, and so I'll say yes to doing another of these awkwardly awesome episodes next week. Next Wednesday 1 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you're somewhere else in the world, I hope it's exotic, but figure out the time zone thing. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye. And now is the outro, which I haven't gotten the smooth yet. I should just say the ending with my crystal clear voice and flow smoothly into the outro. But the outro, the end of it, the outros. Okay, I'll just give you this. Bye.
Linda joined a little bit.